So when I met up with Bob and he explained that there were some challenges about joining District 74, that is the time I stepped in.
My main activity for all these years and what's been in my brain all this time is how do we join District 74? Yes. The story goes back to 2010 when we invited Rob Douglas from South Africa to be our guest speaker at our annual conference. He said, well, why don't you try and join District 74?
The news broke a few days ago that the Toastmasters family in District 74 is growing. Yes, our district director, distinguished Toastmaster Meryl Jabba, announced that Mauritius will officially be part of District 74 come the 1st of July 2021. I've decided to sit down with the leaders from Mauritius and get a little bit of an idea of what the sentiment is like on the ground as we look forward to welcoming them in 6 months' time. I'm joined by Bob Ward and Ravin Lama all the way from Mauritius. Leaders, good day. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today. You're very familiar faces in District 74, but just for the new members or those who don't know who you are, care to introduce yourselves? Bob, I'll start with you.
Yes, I think you just know my name. It was just stated. My name is Bob Ward, DTM. I joined Toastmasters in 2005, March, and we have 2021, so it will very soon be 16 years. I've had a mixed career. At the beginning, I was very slow because I had a company to run. And around about 2008, I sold it. And as from that time, Toastmasters became one of my main occupations. I spent a lot of time in China. I started a few clubs there. I actually was an area governor for a while. I've been a president of 2 different clubs on Mauritius. I've mentored at least 2 or 3 clubs. I'm currently sponsoring a club. And also we started 3 clubs last year. I'm currently the immediate past president of Financial Toastmasters Club. However, my main activity for all these years and what's been in my brain all this time is how do we join District 74? Yes. Yeah.
And you absolutely did not give up because now Mauritius is officially part of District 74. We're going to touch on that in a little bit. Ravin, care to introduce yourself to the leadership members of District 74?
Thanks so much for giving me the opportunity. Hello, District 74 Toastmasters. My name is Raveen Lama. I'm from the beautiful country of Nepal, from the Himalayas. I started the Toastmaster movement in Nepal 27 years ago. We started with the first club called the Kathmandu Toastmasters Club, and I served as president for 5 terms because nobody else wanted to take on that responsibility. So as we started growing, the movement really took off. I came to Mauritius in 2004 to set up a newspaper. I'm in the media business. So I came to set up a newspaper in Mauritius and used Mauritius as my base to shuttle between Mauritius and Kathmandu. Nepal has grown by leaps and bounds. I think there are over 40 clubs now. It has been districted with District 41, which is India. So when I met up with Bob and he explained that there were some challenges about joining District 74, that is the time I stepped in, but I think that will come much later. But that is, I'm a member now of the Port Louis Toastmasters Club, which was one of the first clubs to have started on the island. And I've been a member since 2006.
Mm-hmm. And absolutely still a journey indeed for you, Ravin, and for you, Bob. Seasoned Toastmasters indeed. You have a never-fighting spirit, as a dream I believe you've had for many years has finally come to life. Bob, do you care to tell us about this journey or background into how this dream eventually became a reality?
The story goes back to 2010 when we invited Rob Douglas from South Africa to be our guest speaker at our annual conference. We have a conference of all the clubs on the island each year. And that started like 11 years ago now. And he came to that particular conference. And I got to know him quite well. We had dinner together. And he said, well, why don't you try and join District 74? We only had 3 clubs at that time, and it was a completely new idea to me. We said, yes, why not? Sounds like a good idea. So he went back to South Africa, and unfortunately, it didn't work too well. So that was the idea was then in my head, but we didn't have much success at that time, but I was still looking for ways to progress that. And I had communications with various people from South Africa on and off during the years. But anyway, and then came the year of 2017, and a gentleman called Christian Ramchern from Mauritius was talking to Paul Jensen in South Africa about founding about us joining District 74. And at that time we had 8 clubs, and everybody in South Africa was super enthusiastic, including Christian and myself, and we went ahead with it. And I went to South Africa in 2017 May, joined a conference, spoke to the district council, and everybody said, yes, what a good idea, fantastic, we must do that. And everybody, I think, was 100% vote in favor, and we sent off the application. And unfortunately, in 2018, March, the board of directors said, no, you can't do it, you must have 20 clubs. And we had 8 at that time. This was kind of a long way ahead, to go from 8 to 20, not so easy. So I started, I changed down a few gears and went into cruise mode and wondering how this could happen. But I'd never lost interest, but didn't seem very possible at that time. And then we had a superstar come along. And this superstar is actually on this screen called Ravin. And Ravin knows Daniel Rex, spoke to Daniel Rex, and no longer was it 20, but 15. And this is a big difference, to go from 20 to 15, and we were 8 or 9 or 10 at that time. And so we started a big action. This would be last year, maybe in June, July, got everybody motivated to start new clubs, etc. And that is actually bearing fruit at the moment. We're going to have another 3 clubs in January, another couple possibly in February. But then our superstar, Ravin, went back to Daniel Rex and said, how about if we only have 12 clubs? And they said yes. So all of a sudden it went from 20 to 15 to 12, and that's where we are today. And so we have the green light, and we will join you on July the 1st this year.
And so to you, superstar Ravin, I know that Bob just told us how, you spoke to Daniel Rex, but how did you get it right? From 20 to 15 to 12, what was your magic secret? Please do share.
Maud, I must go back, much before I joined Toastmasters. I was an extremely shy young man. And I'll share this experience I had. I was in Kathmandu. I'd gone to my grandfather's place, which was 10 kilometers away, to spend the day with him. And in the afternoon, late afternoon, I was coming back in the bus. So when my stop came, the bus stop, normally what happens, you have passengers who get off. So then you get off automatically. There were no other passengers who had to get off. And I didn't have the courage to say, hey, this is my stop, I need to get off. Second stop came, there were no passengers. Third, so 5 kilometers away, there was one passenger who had to get off. So when the bus stopped, I quickly jumped out. I had to walk back 5 kilometers because I did not have the guts or the courage to say that this is my stop. And I said, look, this has to end somehow. So when that opportunity came to join the Toastmasters, there was a Japanese International Monetary Fund rep, Michio Ishihara. So we got together and then started the first Toastmasters Club. And what happened is, during my Toastmasters journey, it built that self-confidence so much, that it became very easy to talk and convince people. So talking to Daniel was easy, having spent 27 years in Toastmasters. If you can't use all that learning which you have acquired, then it's no point being a Toastmaster. So I laid it out to Dan very straight. I said, look, Mauritius is a small country, and he understood. Then I also said that, look, we will do our best. Now, because we'll be joining District 74, we've got 12 clubs. Our aim this year is to open another 12. So we will probably one of the few countries in the world who will double the number of clubs by 2021. So Daniel is very excited about, opening up of new clubs. Bob had been working on starting a few clubs, but things move very slowly in Mauritius. Fortunately, because me being in the media, I knew a lot of people and it became a lot easier to open doors. Fortunately, between Bob and me, we've got an excellent backup team. So I basically lead the way, open the door, then the backup team moves in, holds a demo meeting, has the forms ready. So two clubs, we are signing up two clubs who will be chartering in the next couple of days. And then basically we also wanted to set a new kind of record for Mauritius where we would have two clubs in one single company, a bank, the revenue authority, stuff like that, two clubs in each. So that will be a new kind of record. We've spoken to the police. We're opening two police clubs. So it's going to be an exciting journey ahead. So thanks to Bob, it was just a chance encounter where I said, hey, we got to do this because in Nepal, after they got restricted, I spoke to my colleagues there and they said, this is a really exciting journey. So I said, why not Mauritius?
Like a true superstar you are, Raveen. So Bob was definitely not lying when he called you that. And I think the quote that comes to mind with this whole encounter that you had with our CEO, Daniel Rex, is that the answer is always no if you don't ask. And so you took that bold step, you asked, and the answer was yes. So congratulations and well done to you just for that courage to do something that many of us probably would not have done. Congratulations to you. I want to go back to you, Bob, and for the sake of everyone who will watch this video in the future, is many members may not understand what it means to not be districted and to be districted. Why was it important for you or the team and Raveen and the leaders on the ground at Mauritius to be districted?
Well, for me, I mentioned previously that I'd been an area governor in China, and this would have been around 2014. And I saw the way the whole thing functioned. So for example, there were trainings for new members. Everybody in China that was a new member could be trained, and we don't do that on Mauritius. The club officer training, we didn't used to have that. No club officer training. That's a kind of a standard thing. And then all kinds of other trainings, like they had a thing called Leads, which would teach you how to do your HPL. And a lot of stuff like this was all defined, and various leaders would give these courses in various cities all over China. And I thought, this is amazing, and we don't have anything like that on Mauritius. On Mauritius, each club is kind of an individual unit, and they do what they want, whenever they want. And the only thing we have going for us is that we all come together once a year in July normally for a conference where everybody meets. But apart from that, we don't really have anything. So that was one thing. And the other thing is the conference, we have the English international speech, right? And the people that compete are actually very good. Some excellent speeches, but they do that and that's it, go home. Whereas in reality, if you're part of a district, then you can go to the next level and the next level and maybe become the world champion, who knows? But this is another very strong reason for people on Mauritius wanting to join. So there's the training, there's the progression, and also for me personally, it's also a growth path for various leaders. So for example, when a president finishes, he's an immediate past president. That actually means in most cases that he stays at home and does nothing. Well, in this case, this is a growth path. They can become area directors, division directors, and grow with their leadership skills. So many, many reasons for me why we needed to join. And I'm very happy that that is now coming about.
Absolutely. And so are we as District 74. We actually can't wait for the 1st of July, 6 months away, but we hope we can just hurry on so that we can officially welcome you aboard this family. Raveen, maybe I'll ask you this, and I'll ask you this too, Bob, but maybe Raveen first is, you could have joined any district in the world. There are a few that are very close to District 74, but what was your particular interest in joining District 74?
Maud, it was very natural, see, because Mauritius is part of Africa. And it would be absolutely ridiculous not to join Africa and go somewhere else, because Africa is very close to us. We're on the same continent. And there are so much we share in common. Also, when we had, thanks to COVID, we moved from Room to Zoom. And the opportunities we got, trying to interact with some of the clubs in South Africa was absolutely marvelous. So we said, we have to go with South Africa. And since Bob and Christian had already done the legwork, we said we need to follow this through and reach a favorable conclusion. So it was very, very natural for us to go with District 74, because you all are the best with over 200 clubs. Yeah. Nobody could beat you, so we said we need to join the best.
Absolutely. Bob, do you share the same sentiments?
Yeah, can I add a few things to that? Actually, South Africa, or Johannesburg, is the closest to us. It's a 4-hour air flight to Johannesburg. I did some research on this. So for example, Australia, Perth is 6 hours. So that's a bit further. And if you look at the Arabian Peninsula, Dubai, etc., this is about 6 hours as well. There are some clubs in Northeast Africa, right? You've got Kenya going upwards, but that, at that time when I was looking at it, was not a district, it was a territorial council. So all in all, you are our best choice. Happy to have you.
And we're absolutely glad to have you aboard as part of our family. Now, I've always seen Mauritius when I Google search. I've seen it on TV. Raveen, you've got this beautiful virtual background. I don't know if it's of Mauritius, but yes. Can you tell us a little bit about the culture in Mauritius? What is it like? The languages, the food?
Mauritius is known as a melting pot. We have different nationalities who blend perfectly. Each Mauritian speaks a minimum of 3 languages, although English is the official language. They speak French and Creole. A lot of Mauritians also speak Bhojpuri. So most of the Mauritians are linguists. So all of them are very familiar with 3 languages. It's a small island. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a paradise island. And for those of us, especially for me coming in from Nepal, where we have a lot of challenges with traffic, with load shedding, shortage of water, in Mauritius, we have nothing of that. Everything works. People are extremely friendly. The beaches are brilliantly beautiful. And the food is exquisite.
I'm painting this virtual picture as you're speaking, Raveen, and I want to be in Mauritius right now at exactly the same place where your virtual background is based.
So my background is the Kodon waterfront, which is the capital of Port Louis. It's one of the must-visit places in Mauritius when you come here. So it's part of the capital.
Now that you've said when I come there, I think it would be absolutely lovely if we had this icebreaker, perhaps in 2022, when there's hopefully a bit more certainty, and hosted our annual conference at Mauritius.
We would be happy to host it. Absolutely delighted.
I think since you are a superstar, you can get speaking to all the relevant people, Raveen, and hopefully we can make that happen.
Absolutely, absolutely.
If I may add something, we have this conference every year, and there are typically up to 200 people. We're going to be at 300 soon, and we have a lot of competence actually in organizing this kind of thing. And also, there are several hotels with large conference facilities on the coast, which we've used in the past, and they could be used. I don't know how many people would come from South Africa, maybe 100, 150, 200, we could accommodate them easily. So therefore, if we were to go ahead with a District 74 conference in May 2022, could very much be possible.
And we'll work out some very special deals.
So we're going to leave it up to you, Ravi, now a superstar who has all the contacts and all the influence, and hopefully you can make that happen, because I would love to have a Toastmasters conference on the Paradise Island of Mauritius, as you called it. I want to speak a little bit about Toastmasters in Mauritius, just to give members of the current District 74 an idea of the dynamics on the ground. How is Toastmasters like in Mauritius? And maybe both of you can give me sentiment. Bob, I'll start with you.
You're starting with me, did you say?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Mauritius has developed over the last years, and we now have a lot of industries, or rather, well, desk type industries, using young professionals, and they are, I think, the backbone of our Toastmaster clubs these days. So for example, south of Port Louis, in the middle of the island, we have a large area called Eben, which the government constructed. It's a lot of high-rise towers, and they deliberately put in a high-speed internet and good power connection. And so you find a lot of call centers, financial institutions, banks, and a lot of this kind of operation is there, and they are, I would say, the bulk of our members today. These people, 20, 25, 30, 35, young professionals, and I would say they're making up the bulk of our members at this moment, and it's growing rapidly. So there's no difficulty for us to grow into the future. And these new clubs that Ravin was referring to are, for example, the company Accenture is just about to start a second club. They sent off the papers today. And there's also a big bank who you possibly know, the Absa Bank. It's in South Africa, right? ABSA, probably know that. Well, they are just forming a club at this time, et cetera, et cetera. So you can get an idea of the kind of companies that we're working with.
That's absolutely amazing. And with this Toastmasters promotion that runs up until the end of January, those 3 clubs will be eligible to get a discount, or they will not get to pay the charter fees and the new member joining fees. The members pay up until the end of September. So that's a really, really good deal and a promotion for those members from those 3 clubs that are going to be forming by the end of this month.
Can I just add a comment?
Go for it, Ravin.
What we've also realized is, because the training at Toastmasters is so effective, we've been speaking to companies like, say, for example, as Bob mentioned, Absa Bank, where we said, the Toastmaster experience and the kind of training, the self-learning you get, you'll not get it anywhere else. So it's absolutely essential for your career growth. So the people working in the organization realize the fact that, look, it'll open up a lot more doors. So the banks is one, which Mauritius Revenue Authority is the next club will be opening soon. So again, Accenture is there. We're looking at universities. The police, for the police also, they need to learn how to communicate better. So we're looking at all corporates to see how we can make them realize that, look, it is going to really help them in the long run.
Bob mentioned earlier that all the clubs are English with the exception of one, which is an Anglo-Francophone. Is that correct?
That's true. There's one club at Accenture, which is a corporate club, and they speak French in the building. That's their working language. And so they had a few difficulties adapting to English. So they've now compromised. They're going to have a bilingual setup, one meeting in English and one meeting in French. And so, yes, but the rest of the clubs, of which there are 11, all speak English. And the new clubs that we're actually chartering at this moment are all English clubs, as far as I know. Huh?
Well, we look forward to connecting with Accenture because in District 74, we also have a bilingual Anglo-Francophone club, which is called Mauritius Toastmasters. So we look forward to continuing the engagements with the 2 clubs and possibly multiplying the Anglo-Francophone community in the District 74 that will become the 1st of July. Leaders,
One,
I'm interested.
one more thing, sorry for interrupting. I just wanted to highlight and share with the other Toastmasters in District 74 is that one of the greatest advantages of joining the Toastmasters is you get this absolutely fantastic network around the world. And I'll explain, I'll give you a very simple story. In 2017, my son had just joined the University of Bristol for his undergrad. I'd never been to London. So I looked up, went to the internet, did a Google search and located 60 clubs in the UK. So I wrote to 60 clubs to say I needed help. My son is just joining the University of Bristol. I have absolutely no clue. I'd like to come and visit the club. Out of 60 clubs, 55 presidents responded. 5 didn't respond because they were all private company clubs, which were not open for the general public, so which is understandable. But the response I got was amazing. You know, I was welcomed in every one of them. So the kind of networking you get around the world is simply fantastic. You get welcomed everywhere.
Well, that's such a beautiful testimony about Toastmasters and this global community that we've come, and especially during this time where you said, Raveen, we've moved from room to Zoom, and it's really, really opened doors and really allowed us to be able to extend our network outside of just our clubs, our areas, our divisions, and even our districts. I'm interested to know what the sentiment is on the ground. How are the Toastmasters members in Mauritius feeling about this new announcement of being part of District 74?
Want me to talk? Excuse me. I would say that a large number are fairly new members. And so district, all that kind of stuff is something they don't really understand. I must confess, maybe a half. But there's also a lot of experienced members. And we've had a lot of support from these people over the last year or the last 6 months, especially. A lot of enthusiasm because they realize the same arguments I put forward earlier in this discussion about the lack of coordination, the ability to take part in a speech contest internationally, training, all these things. They fully are aware of that. So I would say we have full support of the organization here and a lot of enthusiasm.
What about you, Raveen?
Maud, what I would say is, you know, initially there was that fear. It's very similar to when you're leaving school and joining university for the first time. You have absolutely no idea what you're getting into. But there is always that leap of faith you need to take. And I'm very thankful that all the Toastmaster clubs here took that leap of faith to join a district because it opens up a whole new universe of learning, which is absolutely essential for all of us. You know, otherwise we are just caught in an island. And Mauritius being very small, you know, it was time for us to grow and take that leap of faith and move out into the new universe.
Absolutely. As we head towards the end of our interview, I just want to ask you both, what are you looking forward to the most as we head towards the 1st of July, 2021?
I would say it is like a key turning in a lock. We have been growing on Mauritius relatively slowly over the last 20 years, and it would have normally continued to grow at the same speed. There would have been no sort of boom, rocket taking off, anything like that. Well, I think this is the rocket taking off. It is the key to the whole organization changing dramatically, growing more rapidly, and maybe in the future, we could even become a district by ourselves, but who knows, that's the future. But for the moment, this is the key that's going to unlock that door.
Absolutely. And yourself, Raveen?
I would agree with Bob 100%. First, what we need to do is, since we've just joining 74, get our bearings, start cruising, and then ultimately in the next 2 to 3 years, grow a lot more clubs, you know, so that you can then set up your own district.
Mm-hmm.
Then it becomes, you know, have speech competitions with District 74 and say, okay, we've learned from you, now we need to beat you.
I love the enthusiasm. I absolutely love the enthusiasm, gentlemen. As we head towards the end, I'd like to give you both a few seconds, up to a minute, for closing comments. Bob, maybe I'll start with you.
Well, my closing comments are, I'm very grateful to Ravin, actually, for his work talking to Daniel Rex and Jonathan Ram, because I think without that, we would still be discussing how we were going to get to 20 clubs. So that, I think, is the fundamental change that has happened, and I'm very grateful once again to you, Ravin, for that. I also, I'm very excited at the possibilities this offers, as I just mentioned a few minutes ago, and I think that this is going to change everything on Mauritius. And I'm also looking forward to some excellent speaker from Mauritius, and there are some excellent speakers coming to Joburg or wherever to join you in your conference and blow you away. And maybe he will be going to the quarter, who knows, because we do have some very good talent here. Okay.
I must say, I love the enthusiasm that's coming through, gentlemen. I can almost see the competition is on, and it's not even yet the 1st of July. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Absolutely,
Some comments from yourself, Ravin.
Maud, just to close, I would like to quote from the brilliant Amanda Gorman, who recited her poem, The Hill We Climb, at the presidential swearing in on the 20th of Jan. And I quote, "And so we lift our gazes, not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light. If only we are brave enough to see it. If only we are brave enough to be it." Unquote.
That was an absolutely powerful, I remember that quote so vividly when that young lady stood up and gave this poem. It was absolutely riveting and almost closes what has been such an amazing discussion. Bob Ward, Distinguished Toastmaster, thank you so much. Ravin Lama, thank you to you too. There's been so many nuggets that's come out of this interview, but what's evidently clear is that Mauritius is very, very excited to be part of District 74 because, as they say, it's going to open up a whole new universe of opportunities, and they are indeed excited about the possibilities. Toastmasters is available in 9 countries across Southern Africa, including Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. And from the 1st of July, there will also be the Paradise Island of Mauritius, a melting pot where everything works, according to Ravin Lama. We're very excited to welcome Mauritius aboard District 74 and for this exciting, exciting journey that lies ahead as we continue to fulfill the district mission, which is we build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence.